Welcome to Listertainment, the channel with the most deceptive name in all of YouTube. So today is all about looking at horrible people who were doing their usual thing by trying to rob some good people, but it turned out that those so-called victims were no victims at all. They turned the tables on these guys and made them the victims after they beat them up, since it turned out that they were professional or highly trained fighters. I can only imagine what it would feel like to be so confident in your skills that you might just laugh if somebody tries to rob you, especially without a weapon in their hand. If you happen to enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe down below. And also make sure to turn on those notifications. Let's get this thing on the road. Earlier this year, on April 25th, Anthony Smith was scheduled to fight Glover Teixeira in the UFC. But on April 6th, something terrible happened. An intruder got into his house at 4 in the morning, and Smith was awoken by his wife, who told him that there was a man in the house. He encountered the intruder and immediately went after him, trying to subdue him, since he said he didn't know if the man had a knife or a gun and needed to get control as soon as possible before he was able to use them. He battled the intruder for 5 minutes before the police arrived and took the man away. Smith said that even though he is a pro fighter, he really struggled to keep this guy down. He took all his shots, including punches, kicks, elbows, and knees, and still kept coming. He also mentioned that he thought he was a badass, but now he feels a little insufficient, and he never thought that it was possible to be this terrified. Luckily, he was able to make the fight on April 25th, but lost via a knockout in the 5th round.
And the UFC president Dana White, many of which felt that the corner should have at least stopped him from going out for the 5th round.
Meredith Livinggood is a martial art instructor at the New Orleans Boxing Club when this idiot approached her gym asking for information on taking classes. She went to show him some information on available classes on her phone when he straight up tried to snatch the phone away and tried to make a run for it.
When suddenly, he snatched her phone away and tried taking off on his bike. Oh, but he didn't get far.
Got him by the neck and was able to hold his leg so he couldn't move, and then I was able to...
But Meredith was on him right away. She was able to lock up his leg right away and was able to get a punch in right at the beginning. Then, did you see that? That when she got the phone back, she threw it on the ground just so she could get another punch in. That was great. What kind of idiot goes to a boxing gym and tries to rob the people there without a weapon? Poliana Viana is a fighter for the UFC, and in 2019, while in Brazil, a man approached her and tried to rob her. She was sitting on a bench when the guy sat next to her and asked her for the time. She checked her phone and told him, and immediately realized that he wasn't going to leave, so she tried to put the phone away in her waist. The would-be robber told her he was armed and to give him the phone. Poliana then said that he was too close and that there was no way he would be able to pull out the weapon in time. So she jumped at her chance, punching him and kicking him to the ground, and then got him in a chokehold and waited for the police to arrive. This was his face after the incident. It has to be bad luck for this guy that he came upon this badass lady. And it also turns out his gun was just a cardboard cutout.
Quando ela foi mais esticando para tentar dar o golpe, ela deu mais pescoço ainda para Poliana Viana conseguir encaixar.
De golpear achando que poderia sair dessa forma, mas não é assim que se faz.
Sergio Hernandez is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and when he was returning to his father's home, he came upon a home intruder that was on his way out. At first, he was unsure of what was happening, since the guy just said that he was trying to get away from some dogs. When Hernandez finally realized that something was up, he chased him down, and when they told the intruder that they were going to have to call the cops, he started going crazy. So Hernandez took him to the ground. Hernandez said that his training is what allowed him to remain so calm during the situation. And as you can see from the video, he was able to think about doing multiple locks and chokeholds to get this guy on the ground. He finally settled on the triangle chokehold and held him until police arrived. Hernandez seems like a great guy, because he could have seriously hurt him or put him out, but instead he just held him tight. This man is named Steve Shepard, and although he's on the older side now, in his younger days he was a 5-time world kickboxing champion, and according to him, he was never knocked out.
Forearm while he threw the right uppercut. Shepard thinking about that uppercut now.
that stands up because a robber hit him from behind with a glass bottle, then punched him in the jaw, and Steve remained standing. The robber then asked for his phone, but instead Steve gave him a punch right to his ribs, and that's all it took. Steve said that he heard his ribs break and that as soon as he hit him, the robber bent over and collapsed on the ground before being able to get up and running away from the scene. Now we have a guy named Justin who said he was an Ultimate Fighter, but we can't really confirm that since he never gave his last name or provided any proof at all. But he was being mugged by some guy named Anthony Miranda. Justin gave him some money to go away, but Miranda was not satisfied and told him to get out of his car. I'm assuming so he could check him over and get some more stuff off of him, but that's when Justin used all his training and put Miranda down. This is what his face looked like after, and most of the damage was done because he didn't want to give up. He kept fighting, begging Justin to let him go, but instead he was taken to jail. Another female MMA fighter named Monique was able to turn the tables on a would-be robber in Brazil. The coward's name is Wesley Souza de Araujo, and he approached Bastos and another woman on a motorbike with a partner who ran away as soon as Bastos started fighting back. Apparently Bastos realized that they were unarmed, so she simply knocked their bike over and grabbed the driver, Araujo, in a rear naked choke, and then transitioned into a triangle choke and held him until the police arrived. In the video you could hear the criminal calling for his daddy and his mommy, and to be let go since it was his first time, but he got no clemency from Bastos. Bastos is a professional MMA fighter with 6 fights on her record. Jose Cortez is a professional MMA fighter and boxer, and one day as he was walking down the street, a thief came running up behind him after robbing a sandwich store nearby and crashed onto his back. Cortez immediately grabbed him and threw him over his shoulder and subdued him on the ground until police arrived. This guy didn't even seem to be trying to rob Cortez, he just crashed into him by accident, with Cortez just saying, "Man, he got too close to me." So he wasn't even trying to stop the robber at all. The guy fought back for a little bit until he found out that Cortez was a pro fighter from some of the bystanders, so he just gave up at this point. This is the best choice he could have made. Mayura Disanayaki is a gas station clerk who during his shift saw that his co-worker was coming back from the bank, and that's when some guys attacked him. Apparently the guys were staking him out and were aware that he was coming back from the bank, so they tried to get the money. Mayura jumped into action as soon as he saw this and just brutalized these guys, knocking both guys down with kicks and punches. So he was more than capable of taking these guys down. Eventually the bad guys tried to make a retreat, but Mayura was able to put one guy down again, and his partners in crime just abandoned him right there until the police arrived and made the arrest. Awesome friend to have right there. Here's another crybaby robber from Brazil who tried to steal a phone from this jiu-jitsu student and got quickly put in his place. This guy got her phone and ran away, but she gave chase and eventually caught up to him and took him down. Her name is Sabrina, who is still a white belt with 4 years of training, but for an idiot robber, that's all you need, as she put him in an armbar for 20 minutes until the police arrived and took him away. She threatened multiple times to break his arm if he didn't just stay still, and luckily for the robber, she was nice enough not to do the ultimate damage. I am not much of a confrontational person, thus I'm never looking for fights, but with the popularity of MMA nowadays, you really have to think about ever messing with anybody. That goes the same for all the criminals, as these guys have learned that you never know who out there might be able to give you a good beating. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.